If you're not having much success with your handmade business, it might be because of the products you're selling. I know, as artists, we want to believe that our work is sellable no matter what, right? But the hard truth is that that's not always the case. When starting a handmade business, it is crucial to be able to separate our business from our art, so we can focus on creating products that actually sell. That's why today I'm going to tell you 5 things to avoid with your handmade product. These are things that just make selling or keeping up with business harder than it's worth. Now, if you're an artist who isn't actively selling your work or you're not trying to make an income out of this doesn't really apply to you. Get out there and just keep on creating. Do what you're already doing. But if you're trying to build a successful handmade business, take out your notebooks and pencils because there is a lot to learn. Hi, my name is May Pak, and I help makers, artists, and designers make a living by selling their handmade products online. So my handmade jewelry shop makes $200,000 a year in sales, and today I'm going to share some of my past experience that I hope will help you too. Okay, so there are 5 key things to avoid with your handmade product. These are common mistakes that can cause a handmade business to fail pretty quickly. And with all the time and money you've put into making this happen, I really want to see you succeed, okay? So pay close attention. First of all, avoid selling a product with zero demand. I want you to think about the product you're selling. Does it have competition? Is there an existing customer base, or is the product in high demand? If you answered yes to these questions, you're on the right track. That's because you have proof that your product is something customers actually want. If a customer wants it and you have it, you can sell it. It's that easy. Now, you don't want to sell a product with no demand. If yours is the only product of its kind in the market, that's probably for a reason. People simply aren't interested in it, or they're not looking for it right now. And if they're not interested, they're not searching for it, and they're not going to find your business. Even if they do stumble across your website or your Etsy shop, a customer is just not going to buy something they don't have an interest in or a need for, right? Logic. For example, if you're selling glass pacifiers for babies, you're probably not going to get much business. So make sure that whatever you choose to sell is something people are actually interested in. If you're not sure whether your product has demand, look at the most popular products on Etsy or on Amazon. Even check out social media to see what's trending on there, what's getting a lot of engagement. And on Google to see other brands and shops, just to see what's trending, what's selling, what's already out there. Even if your product isn't the most popular, that's okay. Just make sure that there is existing competition out there, because that's a good sign it's a product idea that works and that sells well. Otherwise, people wouldn't be selling it in the first place. Now, of course, the exception to everything I just said is if you have an invention of a product, like you invented something new. Those types of products are really hard to sell because it requires a lot of educating the market on what your new thing is. And I would usually leave those kinds of products to really big corporate brands who have the finances to spend on marketing and advertising on brand awareness. We don't have time for brand awareness here. We want sales. We want to go straight for the sale. And the guaranteed way to doing that is if you're selling something that is already proven to sell well. The last thing you want to do is spend hours creating the perfect box of dog treats for humans just to find out that humans are more interested in people's treats, right? So, moving on. The second thing you want to avoid is products that take a ton of time to create. We're running a business here, and that means being able to meet demand without exhausting ourselves. If it takes you 2 days to make one product, you'll never really be able to sell much. You just won't be able to keep up with it. It's not sustainable. Of course, if you're selling high-end products at a big cost, that can be an exception, right? For example, if you make custom pet sculptures that take dozens of hours, you can charge thousands of dollars for them. Still though, I would caution you because it is generally harder to make sales for higher ticket products like this. So it's a risk, right? There just aren't as many people willing to spend that much. Another example might be furniture makers who spend weeks creating a handmade cherry oak dresser. You can charge much more for an item like that, but you will also have to spend a lot more time to create time and money to create it in the first place, and then you'll need to find a very specific customer base to promote it to. It's just harder to sell really expensive products. And another con to that is you're not going to sell expensive products as often, which then creates that roller coaster feeling of running a business that no one enjoys. It's just harder to sell really expensive products. And the one great way I know to bring consistency and stability in your handmade business is selling products that have accessible price points. That's going to help take the edge off, and so you don't wonder when your next sale is going to come in. That kind of product makes it easy for you to make multiple sales every day. So choose a product that you can make quickly and efficiently so it's priced accessibly. Like if you're making jewelry or greeting cards, you can probably create quite a few products in one day. That will make your business much more sustainable. Now, I'm not saying you can never ever sell bigger ticket products, just that it shouldn't be the only thing you sell. It's a much more comfortable lifestyle to sell primarily accessible priced products. In other words, diversify your products based on their price range. The third thing you want to avoid is selling products that are hard to reproduce. We need to take advantage of economies of scale. That means you want an increased level of production, which is nearly impossible when creating one-of-a-kind pieces. Think about it. For every product you make, you spend an equal amount of time, if not more time, creating product photos, writing a compelling product description, and just setting up the whole product listing. If every product you have is one of a kind, you will have to repeat that process over and over and over again. And that kills a lot of time you could be spending on creating more products or doing more marketing, which is essential for sales. Now, I'm not saying you need to avoid completely selling one-of-a-kind products altogether. I know that a lot of artists pride themselves on their one-of-a-kind pieces. All I'm saying, and it just means that you should avoid having all of your products or even your main products be one-of-a-kind. A business built completely off of one-of-a-kind products is going to be pretty hard to grow. One-of-a-kind products also tend to be more expensive, which means less accessible prices and just generally harder to sell to the average person. So in the long run, it's incredibly difficult to make a meaningful, sustainable income when every single product you've got is one of a kind. Of course, you will find plenty of successful artists that defy that rule, but they are the exception and not the norm. If you want to have a mix of one-of-a-kind and reproducible products, that is totally great. Just make sure that your reproducible items are the ones you're featuring more. They're going to be your best sellers, your bread and butter. The fourth thing you want to avoid when it comes to your handmade products is creating designs that take a lot of extra time to do. That means cutting out all of those bells and whistles that end up making your price higher and make you work harder unnecessarily and provide little extra value to the end customers. I know as artists, we love to pour ourselves into our designs. I know, I am an artist myself. I want to add the glitter and the sequins and the ribbon and the whole kitchen sink to a design because we enjoy making things and we appreciate the process. But from a business standpoint, every single hour we put or minute we put into our work is a minute or hour we could be spending creating more products or designing new designs. And that extra hour spent will make your product prices more expensive too, which will deter customers. So this is something I like to say, but make smart design choices, even when you don't want to. You will be so thankful when you're getting through that long list of orders and you don't have to spend the extra time adding the glitter or paying the extra money supplying the glitter. Because maybe people don't care about the glitter. But honestly, everyone cares about glitter, right? Finally, you really want to avoid making a product that requires a lot of effort from your customer. Whether that means they need to submit a bunch of personal information for a custom product, or they'll need to do some sort of building themselves when the product arrives at their house. For example, if they buy a custom piece of furniture, don't make it impossible to put together, make it easy for them. Because if they wanted to do that, they go to IKEA, right? Actually, probably all furniture requires some assembly at this point, so I don't think that was a great example. But basically, don't make your customers jump through too many hoops. Customers want things to be quick and easy. That's why they're shopping online in the first place. They don't have the patience to fill out terribly lengthy forms or to read a chapter book worth of instructions. Having said that, I know personalized and custom products are great. My husband's new shop is a personalized product, but there's a balance, right? It's not great when your customer needs to make a ton of minute decisions. So for example, if you're selling a personalized bridesmaid tote bag, just ask for the name of each bridesmaid. Like, you don't need to know anyone's life story here. You can also make things easier for your customers by providing a simple template or base to fill out a small handful of personalized decisions. Your customer wants their purchase to just be a click away, so do what you can to make that happen for them. Kind of an extension of that point, this is a point that I find hard to communicate, but I'll try. I also encourage you not to create a product or an entire business that is based off of a niche that is very ultra specific. Like, maybe you create a product that only people who have a master's degree in, I don't know, some really rare degree that like only 1,000 people in the world have. Because then there are not going to be a lot of people to buy your products from. So that's another thing I want you to consider. It's not easy running a handmade business, but with the right products, you can make it a lot less exhausting for yourself and a lot more successful. If you're worried that your product might be hard to sell, consider making some tweaks to it or selling it alongside other more customer-friendly products. And be prepared for those to be your best sellers. When you've got a great product, it's so much easier to build a great customer base. So what are the products that you love making? Let me know in the comments below, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest handmade business tips for your business. And then stay on to watch the next video on the screen here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in that next video.